Welcome back, everybody, to the weekly Forex Outlook and Reviews. I hope everybody has had a fantastic weekend, and now we're ready to prepare our mind for the week to come. So we're going to take a look at 10 pairs, as always, starting with the dollar index, Euro USD, Pound USD, USDJPY, Gold, Pound JPY, USDCAD, EURJPY, USD Swiss franc, and Pound Swiss franc. So just mixing up some of the pairs, a nice variety there, just to make sure that we get some different structures and we're not trading or hedging against ourselves in terms of pairs and correlations. So just remember, this is my viewpoint. Whatever I'm telling you now is not a signal. It's just how I perceive the market and what I'll personally be looking for next week. So we'll start on the 4H time frame of the dollar index. First things first, what can we see? Trend line's been broken. We have strong pressure to the downside. Price action is clearly creating lower highs and lower lows, which is indicating a potential reversal on this market. So for that reason, I'm going to be looking for where the market is reacting to the most. I'm looking for these wick rejections. And as I can clearly see, in and around this level here, we can see price has created 2 4H candles worth of rejection, 8 hours worth of information to indicate this is where the sellers could be sitting. So the scenarios I'll be looking out for next week is clearly going to be for the double top, see how price reacts again at this level. And if not, I'll take where the wick rejections are, so the structural low. I'll be looking for some 50% retracements in and around this level here, and I'll be looking for continuations as a lower high from in and around this level to continue taking sells. In my opinion, what I want to be doing is just taking trades in line with the directional bias of the market. This makes my life easier because I don't need to start looking for reversals in the market. I can just be looking to take trades with the momentum. So this is how I see the dollar index as of next week. The next pair that we'll take a look at is Euro USD. Now, I can clearly see that the trend line on this structure has also been broken, which is potentially indicating a reversal. Now, the true reversal hasn't been played out as of yet, simply because even though we've broken this trend line, we haven't really made a higher low, higher high. We can see prices fail to break above this structure in an attempt with this bullish candle here that left a wick behind. And we can also see at the lows, we haven't really broken this structure. Be mindful when looking for buys or sells on this market, because if we try to buy into these markets here or sell into these markets here, we could find ourselves with a shortage of range, which means we're going to get a reaction and we could potentially be stopped out. So for major structural levels, I'm going to be looking around these levels here where most of the wick rejections have been playing out. Let's make sure I get them all in. And obviously, I'm going to be now seeing, will price come back to this level to give us a reaction for this double bottom continuation up? Or are we going to be seeing a continued bullish structure form with a higher low, higher high structure, and then looking for continuation buys? So just keeping this really simple at the moment, the reversal looks like it is playing out, but hasn't yet played out. So for the double bottom, this will give us some really nice confirmation, some strong buys with stop losses below structure once given the evidence. And if we don't get back down to this structural low, I'll be looking for price to break to the upside, looking for that continued bullish pressure and then some sort of retest higher low structures, either back to these levels here, or if it forms a higher low up here somewhere, I'll be looking for the continuations. Let's see what happens next week. Next pair that I'll be taking a look at is Pound USD. Now, across the board, we can see what's happening with the dollar index. It looks like we're getting a reversal in that market. We can see some weakness in the dollar with the Euro USD, and we can also see weakness with the dollar against the pound. Now, it doesn't mean that the dollar is going to be weak next week. We will have to see what happens. But in terms of technical analysis, what I will identify again is a break of the trend line. For a very long period of time, price was unable to break above this structure. We clearly can see now we've had this break close above this structure. We have formed these higher low structures here. So let's plot these in as a key level in the market. And we can also see that we have just taken out the previous structure high, which is a strong indication of bullish pressure. Now, what I'm going to be looking for now, this is just an indication of that bullish pressure. What I'm personally going to be looking for is to see how price comes back to this level for reaction, to see if we have this continuation to the upside for continued buys. I'm not going to disregard that this is also a major level in the market where price has created that first structural low. So if price does want to come back to this level, that is completely fine. I'm happy to look for buyers off of this level as well if we're going to continue with this bullish structure that is now starting to form on Pound USD. So for these scenarios, this is what I'm going to be looking for as of next week. The analysis only stands really for about 24 to 48 hours, depending on how the market moves in terms of the candle ranges. So always reevaluate. Don't take this as concrete evidence to say, well, look, Rox has said if it comes to this level, let's buy. Please make sure that you're using your strategy, looking for your patterns that you use as an indicator to take trades. Let's continue on with the next pair, which is USDJPY. This structure isn't as clear as the rest, but we can see that what this market is doing is breaking above previous structural highs here to the left, indicating continued bullish pressure. Structurally, we're making higher highs and higher lows. So in any instance, I'm only going to really be looking for buys on this market. In terms of structure to the left, I'm not going to be focusing on levels to say to myself, well, if price comes back to here, I'm going to be selling. Absolutely not. That's not how the market moves. If the market is making a downtrend, then technically it doesn't necessarily need to respect it. As you can see here, price smashed straight through it because we're making lower lows and lower highs. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw in my trend line. I can see that price has broken the structure. The key levels that I'm going to be looking for here on this market is how price respects this level if it comes back to it, and if not, then what I'm going to be looking for is to see if price can form some sort of retest of previous structures to make some higher lows for continuations to the upside. This level now does not stand as a level where I'll be looking for price to come back to, simply because it's too far. If price starts to come back to this level, then what we're going to see lower lows and lower high structure, which means that we could be continuing in a downtrend, or we'll have a reversal off of this previous structure, which is up at this moment in time. So for now, this is what I'll be looking for: a higher low, continuation to the upside, or a retest of this level to look for some continuation buys. The next pair that we'll take a look at is gold. Now look at USDJPY and gold. They're opposite correlating pairs, which means that if gold goes down, USDJPY should go up. Gold goes up, then USDJPY should go down. And what we can see here is the consensus and the structure that's building on USDJPY looks like it's going up. Over here, it looks like we're going down. What I'm going to be looking out for on this market structure is key levels. I'm going to be identifying this wick rejection area here just to see how price comes back to react in and around this level. I won't disregard the fact that price has just broken this structural low here, meaning that this could also be a very interesting level to look out for next week, to see how price pulls back to make a lower high of the previous structure and see if we have this continuation to the downside. This is what I'll be looking for: lower highs, double tops of the previous structure from continuation sells. But you guys should know from your own strategies, price action is price action regardless of what you're using. Always monitor the structure and behavior. Patterns are not enough. Just because you see a double top or a lower high or higher low or whatever patterns you're trading, it doesn't mean it's a tradable opportunity. So just bear that in mind. Always monitor how structure is building and how price is reacting in terms of behavior at these key levels. The next pair we'll take a look at is pound JPY. Now on the structure of this market, I can clearly see alongside pound USD that the pound looks like it's strengthening. What I'll be looking for this week is just to see how price continues with this bullish structure. At the moment, we're in a higher high push phase, which means I'm not going to be looking to buy right now. I'm going to be looking to see how price comes back down to some of these key levels, seeing if we get a reaction for a double bottom continuation to the upside, which would be very interesting. And of course, if price decides to break below this structure, then I'll be monitoring, if I do plan to sell this market, how much range I have back down to the structural low, because technically, if price comes back here, there could be a bounce and we could see a continuation up. But I'm not talking about sells for now. Let's not confuse things. I'm looking for buys. For now, this is how I'll be looking at the buy on pound JPY initially as the market opens. It's a nice retest area in the market. We can see price action broke above this structure. Once it broke above this structure, we're talking about the bodies here, but we'll put it up because we need the wicks. Retested, we continued up. So a nice reaction from this level again would be fantastic, and seeing if we can continue to ride this to the upside. The next pair that we'll take a look at is USDCAD. Now, the first things that I'm going to identify in this market structure is how price was unable to break above the previous high. So we see this structure create a level in the market. I've spoken about this a lot, and if you haven't seen it, then go and check my YouTube video on key levels. I always say, if we look to the left and there's no reason why this market has created a level, always monitor how price comes back to this level to make a double top, because more often than not, you're going to have this rally. With this rally, I can see that it is a strong bearish structure. Key levels in this market I'm going to be looking out for is in and around here. I am not going to take this structural lower high as my key level, simply because I could identify that this was a range before it even illustrated that it was a lower high. So price moved sideways longer than it did make the lower high and continue down, which simply means that we may be lacking sellers in this market to continue this bearish structure. For that reason, I'm just going to be waiting patiently for price to come back to this level, see if we get a reaction and a continuation to the downside. Collect some more sell orders, and then let's see if we can ride this down. The next pair that I'll take a look at is EURJPY. Now I can clearly see on this market structure we also have a trendline break, but with this structure it is very strong bullish to the upside with no higher lows, lower highs, or no indication of any key level that we could potentially be working with. So for that reason, what I would say, anytime I see the market structure like this, just to clear things up, I may not be able to trade this based on a 4H structural time frame. I may have to scale down so that I can start to see the market more clearly. As I always say, there's always trends in every pair depending on what time frame you go down, and they may not be long-term trends, but you're definitely going to get intraday trends. So for that reason, I'm happy to say that this market structure is very bullish at the moment. What I'll have to be mindful is that I'm not going to be buying into the structural high simply because I don't have enough range. And in terms of structural low, I want to be looking to see where the market's been reacting the most. Not where price has been sitting at for the longest period of time, but where the market's been reacting the most. So I can see this was a structural high. We had a break of this structure and a retest of this structure, and I can see that the market continued to go up, breaking the previous highs, making a new higher high. Would I be happy with this? I don't think so. I'm not comfortable with it because, to be honest with you, even though it's a retest area, the minute price came back into this area, we did have a strong push to the upside, but we didn't continue that higher high. There was an immediate depletion in bullish pressure. I want to see where the market is reacted to the most in terms of wick rejections and price action, where the biggest move has come from. And in all honesty, if I look in and around this level here, I can see that we've had the biggest move. And as I just illustrated on our previous pair, more often than not, when price creates a level in the market and there's a strong rally to the upside, what we could be waiting for is for the market to come back to this structure. Now, all well and good, if it comes back, it may make that double bottom. But what will happen on the way down is we're making sell-buy structure. So to be honest with you, we're over-analyzing this pair now, which is becoming a problem, which means it's becoming like a problem. So what I think we should do is we're going to scrap this, and I'm not going to edit this out because this is really how you should be analyzing the market. Truth be told, there is a lot of bullish pressure in the market. Without higher lows and higher highs to work with in terms of key levels, it's very hard to determine what we're going to be doing on euro yen, and this could just be a very strong pullback on the daily time frame, which means we can continue with sell by structure. So for that reason, all I'm looking for is for the market to create a higher low continuation up, or I'm looking for price to peak above its previous high, create some sort of higher low formations, and then see this market continue up. To be honest with you, euro yen at this moment in time is a whole pile of crap, and I just don't think that it's worth even trading at the moment. But anyway, I had to give you analysis, and that's my analysis. The next pair that we'll take a look at is USD Swiss franc. We had a strong push to the upside, a structural level in the market where price was failing to break above for a long period of time. We can see this level here. The market tried to push up and failed. So this is a very strong level in the market where we can be looking for price to come back to. So we'll dot this in, remove the reds, and create the level. And what I'll be looking for in terms of my second key level is in and around this here. So two scenarios I'll be looking for to see how price comes back, reacts in and around this level for a continuation down. And if we don't manage to collect enough orders in and around this level to make those lower lows and lower high structure, I'll just be simply waiting for price to come back to this as a final resort to see how price reacts in and around this level to see if we get this reaction back to the downside. But at the moment, I'm sell biased on USD Swiss franc moving into next week. And this is how I see this pair. The final pair that we'll take a look at is pound Swiss franc. Now this pair is moving sideways. It's easy to say. We can see the reactions from the top and from the bottom. With structure like this, I like to keep it super simple. And all I'm looking for is to see how price breaks, closes above structure for a retest. Or I'm looking to see how price breaks below the previous structure, retest for a continuation down. So at the moment, there's no bias on this pair that I can work with that I feel confident about taking in terms of buys or sells. But in terms of simple analysis, I know this is a range. We're not making any higher highs, we're not making any lower lows, and we're not breaking out of this range. So I'm simply waiting for that break above, break below, retest, and continuation. So that's the 10 pairs for this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed this analysis. I hope you find it useful. Make sure you compare these to yours. See if you see any similarities. See if you see any differences. Just because I've given this analysis, it doesn't mean that it's right. It's just my perspective and opinion on the market. I wish everybody a fantastic trading week. Let's get out there. Let's smash it. Keep it simple, guys. Be patient and trust the process. And as I always say, if you enjoyed this video, please smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't. And until next time, take care.